of the internet, those who are just interested in the world around you and can't stop the urge to learn, even when you're not being handed a diploma to do so. This is my vlog where I talk about all the fascinating things I learned while going about my everyday life. I promise I will only share the most interesting, the most scintillating, the most inspiring things I've found. Today, we are finally going to answer that niggling question that has always niggled at least some of us. What the hell is the difference between a psychopath and a sociopath? But first, let's take a detour and talk about Florida Man, because I'm kind of obsessed with this right now. Hank Green, he of the wonderful Vlogbrothers, recently did a video about the infamous Florida Man. This is a composite character made from the seemingly endless headlines that start Florida Man does X really stupid, hilarious thing, such as police arrest wanted Florida Man after he butt dials 911, or Florida man involved in high-speed chase with police, claims dog was driving. It seems as if Floridians have a greater propensity for doing really stupid shit. But that may not be true. As Hank explains, this might actually be a fluke of public policy. Florida has some of the most open public records laws in the country, which extends to really detailed full arrest reports. So in short, it may be that there are many people in many states who are literally trying to use pets as scapegoats, perhaps even actual goats, but it's just a lot harder for us to find out about it. Plus, and this goes beyond what Hank talks about in the video, I think we Americans just like making fun of Florida. I've noticed this propensity since the whole hanging Chad debacle happened, and we Americans needed something to turn our collective angst on, and Florida was definitely handy. Or, if we want to go overboard philosophically, perhaps it's a form of ageism. We fear Florida because we fear aging and death, and so we use pejorative humor to protect us from that final indignity of life. Anyway, the Florida Open Records Law played a role in, of all things I found out, uncovering the priest sex abuse scandal in Boston. I learned this on NPR's Fresh Air the other day, because there's a new movie out called Spotlight, which is about the journalists from the Boston Globe and their work, which broke the scandal wide open. And it turns out the only reason they ended up pursuing the case is they got this new editor from Florida, a place where you can get any record you want, anytime you want. All you have to do is ask, which is not the case in Boston. And there'd been this lawsuit against a priest accused of sexual abuse, but the records were sealed, which really enraged the guy from Florida, and he was like, we're going to court for these records. And from there, they uncovered the whole horrible mess. It's a really fascinating Fresh Air episode, link in the description below, and now I really want to see the movie. Massively changing topics, one of the things I find myself looking up on the regular is what the hell is the difference between a psychopath and a sociopath, because I keep forgetting and it's something I like to know for reasons, and nowhere really seems to explain it well until I found this really good episode of DNews that does explain it really well, link below. At its most simple level, if I am understanding this right, it seems to come down to this. Psychopaths are amoral. They lack the ability to empathize with others at the biological level. Sociopaths, on the other hand, have a moral code. It's just not the moral code most of the rest of the human species lives by. It doesn't seem to be a biological thing as far as they've figured out yet. It's usually the result of a really screwed up childhood. DNews goes into a way more detailed look. Check out the link in the description box below. But that's the overall gist. Side note, one of the most interesting things I learned in this video is that psychopaths biologically experience a greater reward drive than the general public, so they get a bigger high out of achieving a goal, like becoming a CEO. So you end up with someone who has no empathy, so they don't care who they step on the way up, and they also have a greater drive to get there no matter what. It's not about the journey for these folks. And you suddenly realize why they say there's a higher percentage of psychopaths represented in the CEO population than in the general population. On that pleasantly uplifting note, those are the most fascinating things I've been learning lately. What's the most interesting thing you've learned this week? And remember, this is a vlog about the active process of learning, so I may be totally wrong about everything. If I am, please let me know in the comments below and send me links to correct sources. As always, do not quote me in your term papers, kids.